Greetings, beautiful people. I hope you're having a wonderful, blessed day, night, or evening. If you aren't, just remember God loves you. I love you. You are so loved. Today, I have a very special guest, and we're going to switch this podcast up a little bit. I'm giving you guys a classic podcast episode. Please enjoy it, and thank you so much for listening.
I am.
Hello, how you doing?
Greetings and salutations. I am well.
All right. So before we get started, I just want to praise the Lord, give glory to the Lord.
Yes, God.
This is all for Him and His honor. And,
yes.
Let's get that out the way because, we got to praise
We got to look. I give honor to God, who is the head of my life, Pastor, the First Lady. Come on, somebody.
Amen.
We ain't going to act like we ain't some few babies.
that part. Well,
with no
shame. Welcome to the show, everybody. I would like to introduce LiquidMetal, my friend. Introduce yourself.
Oh, well, the name is LiquidMetal. That's what I like to go by. It is my father's namesake that I am walking in when he did his writing that he shared with me when he was 12. Well, when I was 12, rather. It was very interesting writing. That's what I'll say about it. But I am his second oldest daughter. I come from a pretty big family, grew up older sister, younger sister, and two little brothers who are my heart in human form. I just love my siblings down. Do you hear me? Yeah.
I hear you.
Look, I'm originally from Brooklyn born and bred. I didn't leave till I was 2, so don't try to tell me I'm from Washington because I learned how to eat, sleep, talk, and do everything else in Brooklyn. I even learned how to ride a bike. That's a funny thing. This is a little gym we're going to drop in here. I learned how to ride a bike in Brooklyn when I was 2. And when my mom came and got me, because she left for the Navy, when my dad came and got me, I debuted it. I waited until we took a trip to Arkansas and rode my bike.
That's crazy. Wow. That's what's up.
So I've always been a kid who just wanted to make my parents proud for sure and show them the new things that I knew how to do.
That's beautiful. And that's perfect because that brings us to our topic. And I want to welcome you to the show. This is your first time here, and I'm so thankful to have you on this show. You are insatiable, and I love you, and I'm glad that you're here. So welcome.
We've all got an insatiable mind, so I thought I'd do something that everyone could like.
I like that. Today we're going to be talking about family, which is perfect because you already got into the topic. Let's do this.
Good for us.
Right. So with this whole topic of family, it is very deep because without our family, we wouldn't even be here.
We would not.
It's our tree of life. We come from these deep roots that were established before we even existed or even were thought of. And I think that's powerful because God has a plan and his plan is divine. And the fact that he sought this all out, he planned this and created this. And then he sent us forth in the very present time that we're here is attached to his plan. So let's talk about family because that is our roots. That's where we come from. I sent you that quote before and it said that family is where life begins and where love never ends. And that is a powerful opener because it's...
Whoa, I love that.
Yes. So with this being said, I thank you for coming again and I'm excited to hear your perspective on this. Are you ready to get into this for real?
I'm ready to talk with my good friend because we talking family, but one day we're going to get into friends. We're going to leave that for another time, though, I am more than ready, though. King, go ahead, kick it off.
All right. So my first question for you is, what does family mean to you?
Family is truly everything. I like to say a lot. I got a lot of catchphrases, if you will. One of them being, we all we got. Another one being, we are the bank, because sometimes you need to loan or lend to your peoples, and that's the best way to do it. In my opinion, family really is life. Life as we know it would absolutely be nothing. We wouldn't have our sanity without the people, our loved ones. Another quote that comes to mind is blood is thicker than water. What people don't understand about that is, one, it's contextually, I'm no theologian, but it's in the Bible. What it means is the blood of the covenant is thicker than the water of the womb, which means sometimes you got to pick your own tribe. So all in all, it means the people around you, what you share love with and for, not transactionally, but rather unconditionally. So that is, I mean, that's what family is to me. And in a short response, right?
I feel it. That's beautiful. I relate for sure. For me, family is unconditional love because it is the embodiment of that. I come from a big family as well. In my immediate family, it's just me, my mother, my father, and my two older brothers. But through them, we have a whole family. My oldest brother has around 13 kids, so I'm a uncle to 13.
Look, I remember when we was growing up, I was like, he's a whole uncle. That's crazy.
Yeah, I've been an uncle since I was 6 years old. And I don't take that lightly at all because...
And you shouldn't, because they're watching you.
Exactly. So I've tried to lead by example, but also making it very known that, I have to show myself love in order for them to see what love is.
Correct.
In this world that we're in, it is very easy to get lost in the sauce and to that place of like self-hatred and thinking like
and
that.
Self-love is a powerful weapon.
Exactly.
God didn't give us any weapons that were carnal. Man, that weapon of self-love will get you through. It will calm troubled waters. It will teach you to say, peace, be still when you in some bad times,
Facts. And this is true. And that's one of the commandments, God wants us to love him with all our heart, mind, body, and soul, to love our neighbors and to love ourselves. So it's very important in this world to just have love within ourselves and have love for ourselves and also others, because if you can't love yourself, then you can't love others.
And then you don't even know when you have family. That's the caveat to that. You don't know when there's people who are in your corner. You think no one's there,
Right. And, I've been in those places many times. We got that funny thing, the flesh, the ego. It always tries to make you think you're separated from the whole, separated from God, when we know deep within ourselves that we could never be separate.
Someone who has a podcast out, Planet Jade, definitely said once upon a time while Mercury was in retrograde that we are connected to the cosmos. So with that being said, like you said, we're not alone. We're not by ourselves. We're all connected.
This is true. And this is very true. And that is the sense of this whole topic, because that's family right there. Let them know that you're not alone in any way. Whether that is, here physically, spiritually, you're never alone.
Shoot, whether it be a FaceTime, a text, or call, we'll bring it into this millennia,
Right.
Your family is there. They can instant message you, direct message you, whatever it needs, or whatever means they need to find to get in contact with you.
Yes. I think family is important for many reasons. And I've been on this discovery of my lineage and just going back to, honor my mother and father, not just my literal mother and fathers, but the mothers and fathers that came before me that even...
Right, who mothered your father, who fathered your mother, I see what you're saying.
Exactly. So I've
been on the same thing, truly and utterly.
We there.
We are in alignment, honey. Let me tell you this quick little anecdote. I spent some time with my biological grandfather, right? It's our second time meeting in person that I can remember. So in my adult life, when I tell you, we are not far from our roots, no matter how far we believe ourselves to be. I look like this man. Me and this man both have aspirations of stand-up comedy. He's even done it already. I'm like, what? No way. He's like, yup. He's giving me the little rundown on how he went about it, and he kind of took the Bernie Mac approach. And me being a student of the game, I'm like, yeah, I know that stand-up. You thought I didn't know that because I was young, huh? And it's just one of those things where it is very important to look back. People always act like it's so horrible to look back into your past. No, it is not. That is a fallacy. That is of the devil. You go look into that past so it don't repeat itself for absolutely no reason.
Thank you. And that's facts. That's a big part of why I was looking back into my lineage to figure out what was going on. Because, generational curses are a very real thing.
Yes, they are.
Yes, and I want to figure out...
If you got to be the curse breaker, this is what we don't mention a lot. You got to know what the curses are. And it's not fun to find out.
It's not. but it takes you having to go into those places within yourself, sit down, put that mirror in front of your face, which oddly enough is life for you, because life will bring that right in front of you, dead center in your face.
True.
Things. So you have to go back and figure out, okay, what happened here? What happened with the people in the past, in order for me to break those things to move forward? Because a lot of us, I don't think it's mentioned or not, but when we are being the curse breakers of our time for our family lineage, are being that breaker for the lineage. You're setting souls free from that time as well as this
from that bondage.
Exactly.
So those souls will be set free and free indeed.
Exactly.
And what the caveat to all of that is, guess what? You're still above ground, so you about to find new problems. Yeah, it don't stop. It does not. But that is, I was gifted a book by a great friend of mine, and it's called "You Can If You Think You Can." And I've always believed that I can break a generational curse. I've just, as a kid, you just sit and think about things that you want to do and think about your life. And with that being said, with my new branch, and that same friend calls it a branch, he said, you created your branch of family, so like that's how you create new fruits and harvest for your labor. And it's really a beautiful thing, because you really can if you think you can. I believe that I would not have a child out of wedlock, and that is exactly what happened. I believe that my child will be the first child of mine and my husband's. People try to tell you, oh, let that go, it's a different time and age. Well, honey, God will give you the desires of your heart. You don't have to listen to what these people talk about.
That's so true. That is so true.
Because he did it for me.
He is a promise keeper and fulfiller. Yes.
So, like, that's one major part about when we know to look in the past to ensure that the future doesn't replicate the same things as we break these generational curses. One thing that, you got to realize or recognize, rather, is that around you, there will be so many naysayers as to why you can't break your generational curse.
Yes.
And you better cast it back to where it came from.
Big facts. And the strange part about that is some of those could even be within the family. And
Correct.
I learned that. And, it took me to come to that place, that loving place, to be like, man, I'm not just doing this for me. I'm doing it for you as well. I'm doing it because those same curses and things that have been put on me have also been put on you. So
yeah, they were not just assigned only me. Just like God dispatches angels, the devil gives assignments out to, come on now, somebody. And there are a lot of assignments, and I'm so glad that these people didn't look. These spirits, rather, who yielded certain people, didn't affect me and create damaging, like where I believe that I'm hemorrhaging and I need so much help. One of the very simple ones that a lot of people deal with, and many of families that I've spoken to, body image. Body image is a huge one.
Yes.
Well, boys, you too skinny. Girls, you too fat. We internalize that, and we are not kind to ourselves.
This is true. And that also enslaves us in the fact that what we feel, or this earth experience, is so real when it's not, And I hate, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really hate, but I hate the energy that comes behind that. Because growing up, I was placed in this space where I was really self-conscious about my being here, and I didn't.
If you belong here, whether you look right in this room, are you supposed to be here? It really makes you start to question your being, like you said, just naturally.
Yes, and it took that love to break that, to make me go, I'm not my body, I'm not my body, I'm not my mind. It took me a long time to get to that place, but in that place, I started to see myself differently.
Very much so.
To change my body to fit in, or to be this, or to be that, or to be liked or appreciated, because I know God liked me and I like me, and that's all that matters.
And that's enough right there. Come on, I can take it to the bank, cash it every time.
Exactly.
That was a hard one for me, because I just carried life. So the things that I have done, it's almost like I like my body so much more now than when I, had the 6-packs that broke into like a 4-pack effortlessly, because genetics is what they are. Okay.
Yo, she had that 6-pack. a six-pack in like middle school. I was like,
Look, cut off. I was
yo.
on a lean diet. I was eating right for my blood type, didn't even know it, but that's a story for another day. While I am with this new body, one thing that I was very intentional about is what I saw. I had to guard my eyes. So I'm not following a whole bunch of fitness women who look great, knowing good and well I feel like a whale. Okay? That's just not smart. That's bad. This is poor management is what I'll call it.
Okay.
So what I was doing was listening to all those women who have carried life before and they look astounding. One of them being my mother. Come on, somebody sits me looking snatched. It's ridiculous. Like, I'll be looking at them pictures. I'm like, 3 kids? This what you look like? 4 kids? Wow, this is what you look like? And a woman that I work with as well, who is Nigerian, she said, for women like us, melanated women, for African Americans, however you want to word it, she was like, cocoa butter. You need to put cocoa butter on your skin because it'll really help with the stretch marks, discoloration. So what I was doing in the morning was putting on cocoa butter on not just my stomach, my thighs that got bigger, but while I did it, the interesting thing that I did that has greatly impacted my mental health, rather mental wellness, is I would say I am a good mother, I'm a good wife, I'm a good daughter, I'm a good sister, friend, cousin, etc. But at the end of it, I would always say, and I am a good person. If nothing else, I'm just a good person. Whatever good I can do, I'm going to try to do it for the greater good.
Yes.
And man, you would have thought that it was just such a 180 in my thought process and my relationship with loving myself. So then I can then go forth and love my son, because some women feel like their kids did this to them, rather than they chose to do this to have a kid. If that makes sense.
That's deep right there. That's deep.
Yes. You got to keep the love in the family, so you got to love yourself.
This is so true. This is so true. And that's real wealth right there. That is true wealth. That is true wealth.
That's the generational wealth they're not talking about.
Facts. And it's so important in these times. It's so important in these times because if you don't have that love within yourself, or you're not working to get that love, this world can toss you in for all over the place with all strange things, making you think you got to be this way, act this way, talk this way. And I see it a lot within my family, within the younger generation of my family.
Yes, because they're influenced by all these influencers,
Yes, and the crazy thing is, I was in that same place when I was a teen. So
but you just see it so differently, hindsight 2020.
Right. I will say the younger generation is definitely a little bit more involved than I was in my time, but I just feel
like it's just a little bit more erratic. Like, I'm just like, oh man, like you guys are so sporadic in behavior and nature. Like, our timelines on Instagram was right on time, it was numerical time. Now it's all over the place. It's like, who's the most popular, so they want to be the most popular. Cloud chasing has never been this large when we were growing up,
This is true.
People will post anything.
That's the sickness of the world, in a world where everybody wants to be famous or be popular. That's what happens. And people will literally almost harm themselves to get to that place.
Or will harm themselves and be like, did you guys see it? Whoa.
That part, Lord.
My goodness. You be, hey, yo.
This is true. And you're a mother in this time. And congratulations.
Thank you so much. You hear the young man stretching. That's so funny.
It was beautiful. This is, for you, it's a world-changing opportunity to be a mother.
Yes.
So share with me how that has impacted your life and what you are including as moving forward to be a mother, to be the best mother that you can be.
Well, first and foremost, let me just say parenthood is the best hood I've ever been to, okay?
Hey, I like that.
It's a gated community. None of you jigaboos can come in here, okay? Do you have a kid? You got to have a kid. No, I'm kidding. But anyways.
I ain't there yet. You working.
It slows you down and speeds you up at the same time. It's very oxymoronic at times. Even ironic, because I'm really sitting here looking at this whole baby with my face, but he got his daddy face too. And it's beautiful. You just sit there and you can't even believe that it happened. Like when I brought him home, or rather when we brought him home, I'm sitting in the room. I just looked at him. I bawled my eyes out. I was like, I've been waiting on you for so long. I didn't even know I needed you, but I've been waiting on you for so long. And I learned so much from him. It's not even 2 months, but I learned so much from him. He don't just get up and go. He take his time. He stretches. He takes good deep breaths. I'm like, I need to do that. I need to do more of that. When it's just the little things that you notice, and you're like, I gotta add that. I gotta get that back, rather, because I used to be like that, you know. And that's what I always tell people, like, you know, kids only change because of the world around them. They begin to adapt.
Yes.
However, he has no adaptation ability other than, this is what life is and this is what it's going to be. If not, I'm going to scream my head off. So what's your choices here? Do what you want, but I'm going to scream my head off. Another thing is, it made me a true advocate for myself, because I also must advocate for my son.
Yes. Wow.
So with that being said, there's no reason for me to ever not speak up again. Ever.
I like that.
Because a lot of things that I do or decide to do or don't do have a major impact on him. And a lot of times parents want to be perfect. I don't want to be perfect. I just don't want to have a harsh impact on my son that he feels like he can't speak about. That's all.
And that's very important. That's very important.
Very much so, because that's the defining line between when me and my friends are talking and we're sharing experiences, or we talk to someone else and they're like, my mom did X, Y, and Z. And you can always think like, oh, my mom would never do that. Well, your mother just decided, you know, that might impact my child horrendously, so I would never do that.
This is true. This is true.
My mother's mother was not affectionate. Therefore, my mother is very affectionate. It is definitely her love language. A lot of people don't realize, like, you can correct the error. I think that is an error to not show your children love by hugging or holding on to them, because they were inside of you. You calm them. Your heartbeat literally is what they hear.
Yeah.
Like, for months.
Wow.
So that's a lot. That's a lot of things to say what motherhood has been. But thus far, that's what I got for you, King.
I like that. That's awesome. And congratulations again, because I know this journey is a long journey, but signed up for this, and the Most High put this in your hands because he knows you can complete it, fulfill it, and do that thing. So, and
what an honor it's been for him to give me this task, you know.
Yes, you know,
to love unconditionally, but didn't have a part of me right in him.
Right, and that's the cool thing about it, because this is an extension of you. This is your creation. This is your baby. You know, this is a part of you that is now here on this earth to do great things, just as you. I think,
and I'm just trying to be more Christ-like. I don't want to. One of the major things about before he was even here, while he's just, you know, one of the eggs that I was born with, and that's one thing to think about too. That's just like mind-blowing. Is that I never wanted to be a hypocrite. So I would never tell my son certain things. And people be like, never say never, or you don't know. But it's like, I would not be one of those parents. When we were in church, honey, growing up, purity this, purity that. I'm like, I can do simple math. I know you had that baby at 14.
Stop.
This is easy subtraction. Like, try me with something hard, you know, something with dividends, or, you know, there's a lease, you know, like maybe filing someone's taxes, something complex, because you trying to tell me what I shouldn't do because you was doing it. I had no desire when I was growing up to just be one of those kids who were having sex in middle school, doing any of those things. And I felt like my church family was putting such a push on, you would not be clean or pure if you did.
Oh, yes.
Unpleasant.
Same space. I used to think if I was to do anything, I was going to die. And I meant that. And I felt it. And I'm not saying...
What? Who you telling? Or the way they presented Christ to me. I am so mindful of that, because by the age of 10, I was like, if I sin, I'm going to hell. So
part.
I'm going to hell because I did this thing last week, right?
Mm-hmm.
Listen, mommy. So last week when you said no, I got mad. And I did it when you left. Like, like now I'm bound to hell, though. Like, I'm going to be very, very cognizant of how I teach it.
Yes,
First, I'm going to teach him nothing can separate you from the love of Jesus. We're
that,
going to start there. We're not going to start good or bad, okay? Heaven to hell. That's a lie.
thank you, because that right there, it splits the mind. That creates
Yes.
dualism right there. That whole just concept.
It's not expansive anymore. It's very restrictive.
Yes.
Being a Christian is very expensive. Don't know who told you different, but like, come on, think about it. When you think about the Bible and people are like Moses, they're like the son that got sent away. No, the son who also came back, and when he was traveling with them people and they was getting on his nerves, he smited that rock and shattered it. Oh, Moses got anger issues, boo boo.
Mm-hmm.
Peter said, "I ain't no killer, but don't push me." Like, come on
David
now.
was, David was out here slanging. You know.
David, he's slanging his. He was like, "I'm gonna just do different things, but I'm gonna still do bad things." Like,
Yeah. And that's the misinterpretation of the Bible and the stories in the Bible, because a lot of people think these people were just perfect. And even though there's a
far
lot,
from it.
that presents that they weren't, it's that perception that, oh,
Right. And people
God,
think that, like, we think that we're squeaky clean if we do live a Christ like
and that
lifestyle. And it's like, that's not the case.
every day.
Struggle daily, honey.
Exactly, exactly.
It's
And
not easy.
it's
It's not easy because people try you even more so when you're trying to walk in the light. The
woo,
darkness will call you. I promise you that.
and this is facts. And I've seen that within myself, because there'll be times where life is just perfect. And I feel like I'll just be sitting there, and it's like I have like a inner darkness that tries to emerge, a fake ego or whatever
Mm-hmm.
places. And I'm like,
That's like, it's not supposed to be this good. I had that same.
yo,
I
that
know exactly what you're talking about because at one point I was like, I'm in purgatory. I know it. I know it. I am going to lose this perfect thing that I have. This perfect son. Who has a baby this perfect? Who has a baby this perfect? There's no way. There's no way this is real. Now, why it can't be real? That ain't nothing but the devil. Why
that
it can't
part.
be real?
And it's almost like, and not to say it's a bad thing, but we kind of were taught that perception and growing up through just
And,
all stuff.
oh yeah, don't trust a good thing because ain't nothing that good.
Yeah,
Why not?
exactly. Because
Why can't you have your cake and eat it too? I don't even understand.
I, I know the Most High, every gift from Him is perfect. So if it's from the Most High, then it's a good gift either
And
way.
let's not forget everything that he made was good.
It was
So if he made it,
it was
come on.
good. And that's where us as humans come in, or people
The
being,
flesh, man.
because it makes us think like we have to split whether this is good or bad, when in reality it's things are neutral. It's not
Very neutral. We're speaking the good or bad into it.
that
That's
we're
all.
being that judge, and it was never meant to be judged. And that's oof,
And that's why, as dealing with family, going back to the topic,
yes.
judgment. So if I was judged by them for certain things on my body, I don't want to do that same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't stop the fact that it hurt my feelings. But what I can do is not be that person to someone else, you know?
Right. I believe this. And on this topic of family bodies, I when I was growing up, I have two older brothers. They're very attractive. They're way older than me, but they were muscular and
Hey, Randy.
yeah, Randy and Xavier. They were very popular guys, and so I was just the complete opposite of my brothers. I was more on the nerdy side. I mean, I had a little.
Very smart. My friend is very intelligent. Do you hear me? You will know it from speaking to him. And we had this thing in common where people would tell us how white we sound because we're quite the intellectuals.
Yeah,
First of all, I wake up every day black, honey. I promise you that. I ain't never woke up another day another color.
part, that part, that part. And growing up with them, I was intimidated because I felt like I had to be a certain way, seeing how they were. And so, they used to pick on me for being skinny. I was like 12, so I didn't really think it mattered.
No, that's when it really doesn't matter. It doesn't
Right,
get real till you're like in the thick of puberty and everything
right.
hurts your feelings.
And that's it. When I got to like 15, 14, 16, I was like, dang, maybe I am too skinny. And then I feel like those subconscious fears and
You
just
carry it. You definitely carry it.
right, they started to manifest, and then people started to perceive me that way as well. And it was like I realized
It
going
was like a wormhole.
Yes. And the only way I got out of that was through love, just being able to go, okay, well, at the end of the day, I know that my body is based off of my mental body. How I feel about myself within is how I'm going to manifest here on this planet.
Right.
And started to think, well, if I believe that I am beautiful, or I believe that I am strong, or I believe all the,
Mm-hmm.
those mirror affirmations, those
Man, they do that in yoga all the time. I be in yoga, they be like, believe that you're flexible. I'm like, I'm yet a believer, because yet and still I have not been able to do the splits, but
what day you do.
I am believing and I am touching and agreeing.
Hey, you can do all things, and that's the beauty part. That's the beautiful part of life, because
Mm-hmm.
I feel, back to the topic with the family, and I'll close with the whole body stuff later. Um,
Right.
I growing up with a family, I come from a very religious Christian household. Parents
Mm-hmm.
pastors, grandparents were ministers. Parents was ministers, so
Yeah.
it's a deep bloodline of just this ancestry that was passed down to me, this religion that was passed down to me,
Which
and
is hard to receive as a kid, because
yeah,
they're just getting inundating you with so much information, but it's because they know that there are there's some assignments that have been tasked to you that
yeah,
they are trying to cast out, right, like before you're even here.
yeah. This is true. This is so true. And all those things, they're necessary because everything happens for a reason.
For
I'm
sure.
so grateful for everything that I was taught growing up. But and when I was a kid, it was always like, dang, I just came here to be just free and like, love, just have a good time, and just spread love and do all these things.
Hmm.
I felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders,
Ooh, yes.
things, all these things,
I
and
wonder, for you, did it ever feel heavy when you were told your life is not your own? You're living for others as well. Because I know you've heard that before.
absolutely. And sometimes I still get to that place, but I always bring it back to that 0 point of knowing that if I don't love myself, if I'm not treating myself right, I ain't going to be able to do that for anyone else anyway. So
Right.
I definitely felt that because when I was growing up, that was very pushed on me. Be a servant.
Hmm.
You have to serve other people. That is your way of serving the Lord. And I agree with that. I do.
Yeah, I do. But at the church, they were washing people's feet. And I was like, this is disgusting. Get me out of here now.
Yes. And that there's I would say I'm far more spiritual than I am religious, straight up. I don't ever hide that. My church people know, my parents know. I
For
won't.
sure, I don't have to be in church every Sunday, but I will find a way to open myself to God.
Thank you, exactly. And that
And that can be manifested in many ways. For whoever is listening to this, you don't have to be in church. You can get yourself a gratitude journal and thank God for what He's done for you. You can get yourself a prayer box and write down prayers. There are so many other ways to let God move through you and with you than
yeah,
going to sit into a church. If that makes you uncomfortable, He gave us free will, He gave us options.
this is true. This is so true. And it takes everybody on their own path. Not church
Yes.
for everybody. I say that because I've witnessed that growing up. I was always trying to get my friends to come to church with me, and they was just like, "No, I'm not. I'm not doing that. I'm
And
not."
then by the time you met me, you stopped doing that. And I sure would have went to church with you. Boy, I love to sit in a good service. What?
And because I had got, I'm
You
human.
get bogged down
Oh
though.
yeah, you try to get tired of getting rejected, and you just like, all right, I'm gonna just shut my mouth and eat my right. 'Cause I gave up on it, but there was a part of me that was always just like, I found freedom in the church. I found light in the church. I found Christ in the church.
Church is
So,
my safe haven
hmm
for many years,
yes,
to the point where it was almost crippling if I couldn't get to church. What
mm,
I mean by that is my first time going to a service once I was in the military by myself. I didn't want to go to any church because it wasn't my church, which is so
okay,
funny. Um, and then I go to a church and they sing some songs that my church could, oh, they would always sing, right?
hmm
Boy, when I tell you, they said Jesus wept. Well, what did I do? Because I was on the ground, slayed in the spirit. Some lady, the older lady, picked me up and held me. I'm pretty sure I snotted on her shoulder. She cleaned me up. I felt so good to just cry and let it go. It was my only safe haven. I would not cry outside of church, which is very unhealthy, like extremely.
I mean, it's one of the best places to cry and release. That's for sure.
Yes, it is.
It's the house of the Lord. Get you right.
Every time, every time.
Yes, yes. And you know, going back to the church, because that is an extension of family as well.
For
Um,
sure.
yes, I was blessed with, or I am blessed with a very big church family. They've people
Same here. A very large
born.
church family.
Yes, those people, man,
They
those
they be like your brothers, your sisters, cousins, uncles. You just start making up titles for them.
yes, and that's the facts because I'm in church we call each other brother and sister, sister Jill, sister Harris,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and that's the energy in heaven. We are.
Because in the Bible, we weren't like people. We weren't kings and queens. We're sons and daughters. So
Yeah,
therefore, that's your brother or your sister in Christ.
right. And that's the beautiful thing about it because it's when you don't have your family in your vicinity around you, whatever the case,
Mm-hmm.
you can find your church family. You can find those
You
that,
can find love in them.
yes, yes, because the love of God is present in all. Not everybody walks in that. Obviously, not some people suppress.
Correct.
But the Christ and love is present in all people, but not everybody operates in that, and that's okay because everybody has their own journey, trajectory, and everything.
Yep.
We come into our space with our families and love. It's beautiful that we can see that because it puts a whole nother lens on life to know, okay, it doesn't matter what level or what place I come to, what space I'm in. I know that I'm always going to be able to either give love, receive love, or find that love around me, whether it's through family, church, family, friends, whatever the case may be. And
It's
that's,
just fellowshipping too. We
yeah,
like I don't ever want people to think that I'm so deep. It's just like no, I'm talking about like a kickback at times.
yes,
Or what you do after church when you talk to some people who you haven't talked to or who you haven't seen in a while, you know.
right, right. I went to dinner with, well, I guess it was more like lunch after church with like five good friends, and
Hmm.
I've been in Florida for a while, so I just hadn't seen everybody in a long time.
Yeah.
One is a childhood friend. We grew up in the church together. He then got married, started his whole life, moved to Oregon and everything. So we just hadn't seen each other in a very long time.
Right.
We got together and we ate out, and
And that was Christ like to
yeah,
just sit with your friend, your longtime friend, your brother in Christ, and talk about how life has gone since the last time we spoke, you know.
yes, and that fellowship is important because, and you can't be on an island by yourself.
You really can't. And if you are, throw a party. Tell them
Throw a
bring
party.
your own birds. I don't know. Figure it out to where others like others can come and you can not be alone. We are not meant to be alone. We came into this world alone and we'll leave it alone. However, that means all the time in between we supposed to be living it up. That's
This is
definitely what it means.
this is so true. This is so true. And whew, I feel like we done went all off the topic, but it's still part of the topic. Um,
Look, my family is the reason that I know how to party. Let's talk about it. Them
okay,
parties that you be at as a you remember being like a little kid, like only like 2 years old at a family reunion.
yes, yes. And I feel for my family, I got like the two sides of the family. I have one side of the family that's very proper and they got it
Ooh, talk
together.
that talk. Mm-hmm.
At this other side, the little ratchet, they know how to have a
Whip
good time.
that trick. That's the other side.
The other side,
One side is never would have made it. The other side is whip that trick. Look,
whew, yeah, yeah. And honestly, I just think it's beautiful able to witness and experience it all, and I and I try not to judge because judgment
that
just
really could be
hurt.
you. That's my reason for not judging. I'm like, who knows? People be
Because
like, why do you always give homeless people money? I'm like, because what if I was on the street? I would want some money. No,
that
like, and money flows through me. You just, you have it, you spend it, it goes, it comes, it goes, it comes, it goes. None of
exactly
it is going with you when you're not here anymore, though. So, like,
this is true, and that's
why judge?
I mean, that's kind of like that service, being a service to others, being of service to yourself. And everything that you give out, you get back. Whether that's love, whether that's money, whether that's light, you get all that back. So there's no point in holding on to it and trying to conceal it. And
You must create the good karma for yourself. If everything has a reaction, why not make good actions? You know,
and that's facts because um, I really do feel like, in a sense, that's how you create heaven. Every good deed.
heaven on earth. I feel
Oh,
like you
yes,
can really operate here on earth feeling free and liberated when you're not bound to money, when you're not bound to the judgment and the hate that you have for a brother or sister who may have done something you didn't like. You can speak on it, but I would caution people on how they use their words when they speak on it as well.
Yes,
Because when you speak into your family, you wouldn't speak to them any old kind of way, or
this
you
is
would try not to.
this is true. I try to, when I'm talking to my family, I try to be as present as I can be to make sure I'm not saying anything damaging. Because
Yes,
I have in the past, I have definitely said things that were like
same.
damaging.
That was so harmful, and I'm like, why? What are you talking about? Because that wasn't my intentions. That doesn't mean it didn't harm them, though.
Exactly, exactly. And it's important to be aware of those things, because if your intention is not to hurt, then you try not to hurt. And that's the power of a person who refrains from doing certain things because they know they don't want, their intention is not to hurt that other person. So they keep from going hitting below the belt or doing that. And people like that are important, because there are.
Protect them at all costs.
Yes, honestly, if you're a person like that, keep that energy. Keep that energy, because that's necessary in this time, because there are, other people who do that. And they're just to serve as what you aren't, to serve as what you're not, or an energy that you're not embodying, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's important to be able to love, because at the end of the day, we come from love. We gonna come back to love. Love is the starting point, and it's the finishing point, because love is God and God is love, straight up, Alpha Omega. So
Correct.
anywhere on your journey, if you are walking with love, you are walking the right walk.
Definitely.
Yes. I'm gonna close out what I was talking about earlier with my siblings, um,
Hmm.
with the body portion, the physical being, and then we can move on from that section of this podcast. But
Easy day.
so I had all of these really heavy intentions put on me by just myself and my family, specifically my brothers, to be a certain way or look a certain way. And I was always just kind of like, I don't really care. I don't, I'm like 12. Why do I need to have muscles? Like, who needs muscles at 12? And then I started to get into
I'm
that.
not going to be a bodybuilder at 12, okay, guys? Everyone calm down.
But I felt like that. I felt that intention on me so hard. And my brother would be like, man, go lift some weights. I'm like, what? What? Can I go draw a picture? Like,
You know what? And then what's crazy is because they just think when I was 12, I wish somebody would have told me, like, okay, that was you, though.
exactly. And I see it, like, looking back, obviously that was their kind of intention, they just wanted me to be or have a healthy
They're like, if you want to look like me or even better than me, it starts right now.
better
But
start.
it's the way you give that message. You
Yeah,
can't just say it however you want. I'm sorry,
yeah,
and think that someone's gonna receive it well. You got to think he's 12. How does a 12-year-old's mind work?
exactly. That's so funny. So one of my brothers is a Sagittarius, and so he's just blunt. He just says everything that comes
First of all, let's real
filtered.
quick. I hate to get on that tip. Being rude and blunt is two different things. A Sag, they thread the needle, sweetie, because you be going. Look, that was not nice. That was unkind. They'll be like, "Well, I didn't mean it that way." Well, you probably should just be quiet then.
Ooh, and it's crazy because I have Sag energy in me too. So I'll
Oh,
be,
definitely Sag rising. I be watching.
yep. I be seeing, I'll be like, interesting. I see my brother, or I see that part of myself within him. Uh,
My mom and my sister are Sagittarius. I'm like, oh, don't ever be look deceived. Look, I be seeing it in me. We hone it in. Okay, we
yeah,
need that part.
yeah. And on that, that's just so interesting how our families are so calculated, how they work.
Oh
You're,
yeah,
you know, my I come from an Aries, a Scorpio, and then my brother is an Aries. I'm a Cancer, and my other brother is a Sagittarius. So it's a lot of fire and water in my household.
and fire and water can get very steamy, and fire needs
Exactly.
water, and water needs fire. Because let me tell you something: a Sagittarius can be a wildfire, but a Cancer can go ahead and just water it down, so it's nice and calm. But in the Bible, you know, fire was used to clean things for because water can have impurities. But if you bring us to a boiling temp,
Ooh,
then what? We're good. All
okay.
the impurities are gone. We're speaking from the heart. That's why sometimes when I am angry, I am able to navigate that wrath, if you will.
Mm. Oh,
You're right, though. It's very interesting how our members in our family, we are intentionally placed.
yes, exactly. And that's our soul tribe. That is our pod, our family pod, which is the whole topic that we're talking about. Because we learn from these people. We start with these people. They show us ourselves and just everything that we can be and not be. And that's the beauty of it because we all help each other collectively, whether it's in that immediate space or even the generations that come off of that. And I've learned a lot from my nieces and nephews. Oh my gosh, I love those kids, man. I have a lot. My
What they teach you.
you know so they have imagination, which is
Right.
something a lot of people lack today.
Yes.
Straight up, their imagination is wild. They don't put too much seriousness on life.
Because them inhibitions be thrown to the wind when you're a child. You don't know how to fake it.
You don't know how to fake it. You just be yourself. You say what you feel, and whether or not it's right or wrong, but
Yeah, kids just say it.
they just say it. And I love that. And my nieces and nephews, they remind me, that there is fun in life, that there is laughter in life, joy in life. Like they help me connect to my spirit, my inner spirit, my childlike spirit each time. I
I
remember.
always tell people I have a childlike joy. And what I mean by that is I laugh from a hearty place, you know? I
Yeah,
laugh like I know no pain.
yes. And that's the space that they get in. And I often think that's probably because they was with the most high a little bit longer. They was just up there for a minute and now they're here. And so I feel like
So it's very much so still connected.
yes, they're
You
more.
know how babies just open their eyes and they just be smiling?
Yeah.
Like life is just a gift. Everything's a joy and wonder to a child.
So they just got back like, hey, just got back.
People buy them toys, they want to play with a stapler. Like, what?
Right. They're just curious. And that I feel like that is something you can learn from a child. And you, just like you said, your son is teaching you. Well,
Yes.
here and he's teaching you. And that's beautiful because, I say this a lot. I can learn from an older person or I can learn from a child.
You can learn from anyone. And if you're a lifelong learner, you'll learn that it is okay to be the person on the outskirts who you may know things, but you may not have an understanding. I notice that I know a lot of things, and then the understanding won't be there, which is more so childlike in my own. That's another reason why I look so cute and like a child. Yeah, honey, my mind works like a child. It's very cause and effect. And I will know, like, here's a good example. So my puppies is a part of the fam. My two little dogs. Shout out Sycamore and Jazzy.
Hey.
And will come inside and they're so excited to see me. They don't know what to do. They're jumping on me. They're scratching my legs. I'm like, I hate this. And my husband's like, they love you. And I'm like, I literally hate this. And I had to really sit with it and be like, they're overstimulated because someone that they missed just came. So if you show that same amount of energy, watch how fast they calm down.
Mm.
So when I come in the house, sometimes I be on 10, just like they are.
Aw.
And guess what? They be like, when they remember to breathe. Because I'm not that special, but thank you.
See, but that's the beauty. And obviously the dog's got a different viewpoint than
For
us.
sure.
But it's just a beauty because it's those that excitement. It gives life a little bit of meaning. It makes those meaningful moments
I
that
can see why he was so excited by it. I was like, I should be excited about these things too. You know, you got something to be excited about. We all got something to be excited about.
that
Something.
something. And that's a part of this is finding those moments, especially when it comes to family, because
Family makes you excited just to be a part of something, you know?
exactly, exactly. And I always tell people, and not even just people, but my own family, with them,
Hmm.
like keep those lines of communication with your loved ones. When my nieces be fighting each other and having their little beefs, I be like, don't do that. At the end of the day, when the people in the world leave you to dry and leave you out to,
Hmm.
your family's gonna be here.
Your cousin gonna got look. Your cousin gonna have your back in a strange way. You're gonna
Exactly,
have to tell them to calm down,
exactly,
and they're like, "Nah, they disrespected you." Like, look,
exactly, exactly. And that's that blood being thicker than water. You know,
yeah.
in many ways, that's just one perspective of it. It's all important and it works together because without our families, we wouldn't be the people we are today. Straight up.
Not at all. If you're born into another family, you're an entirely different individual.
Exactly.
If my father doesn't raise me, maybe I'm one of those girls who look for love in every single man they've ever encountered, you know?
Hmm.
Whereas my father was always there. My father was literally the person that we took all our syllabus to get signed. Do you hear me? Very present.
I feel it. I feel it. You know, my mother and father, they're hardworking people. Everything that they have, they've worked for.
Yes,
It.
I hear. Oh man, I'm like, do you guys know how to have a good time? Because you're
I,
just always working.
that part,
And then they are a party too. See, there's that duality.
you know, I was trying to get my parents' party. I ain't gonna lie. I feel like they'd be a little too serious about life. You know,
Your parents are older than mine though, so I see what you're saying.
mhm. They started 7 churches from the ground up, and they built these churches. And I just watched them work my entire life, and
Hmm.
always like, you know, when is that point when they gonna put that attention on me, right? And
Yeah.
all of a sudden, you know, what you ask for, you get in a
So
sense.
I was about to say, be careful what you wish for, because they about to have a lot of energy for you.
Exactly. And I got to like the age of 17, and they put me under that magnifying glass. I said, oh Lord.
He was like, man, I can't wait to go to college.
Literally at that point, I was like, I gotta get away. But you know what? Those were the best times of my life because they forced me to be better. I mean, and not in a bad way, in a way that
No, they supported you to be better. Like they
I,
actually showed up.
they supported me to be better. And I needed that because in that time, I didn't think that for myself. I didn't think I could do.
Or you don't even think that you're good enough. It's just like, this is as good as it gets. And they're like, oh, but wait, there's more. And I know that. And they're like, and you're like, how do you know that? And they're like, because you're my son. You're my child. And I know what I put in you. And when you're a kid, that just sounds annoying and repetitive.
Dude, my mama still say that to me to this day. To this day, my mama be like, "I know you're my son. You're a warrior. There ain't no defeat in you. You gonna finish this thing out." I'm like,
Look.
I
And you be like, lady,
a river right now, like trying to have peace, and you over here telling me to go to war, like,
first of all, they're like, be the wave that wipes everything out. Because you could do it.
because you can, because you can do it, and it's so good though because
Don't nobody believe in you like your mama believe in you. You hope that you find that significant other that's coming the same way.
exactly, that's so true. That is so true. It's another extension because God knows exactly what we need in our lives, and that's why He places us with the families He places us with. You
Oh, for sure, 100%. Because you never know what you need until you look back and be like, "Wow, I needed that. Thanks."
know, exactly, exactly. When I was in Florida this past couple of months, I made a big move, and I was out there for myself for like 4 weeks, and then my father he had some stuff that he needed to get taken care of back in Florida.
Yeah.
Came down, and he ended up staying for like a whole month. And I compared those times where he was there and it was just me taking care of myself to when he got there, and I was just like, dang, I could get used to this because my dad, he's a very caring man. He's an Aries man, and shout out to him because he has overcome a lot in his life to show me
Yeah.
I can overcome. He went from a very hard-headed, stubborn, mean man to a very sweet, humble, and kind guy. And I don't take
Because, man, them fire signs will light you up or they'll warm you just enough.
exactly. And that's the part, to see him become this like warm, loving dad. And I will say in the beginning he wasn't that way, but at that time that's what I needed. I needed that stern.
And you don't know that you need certain things. However, sometimes teachings can, we can say they took the lesson too far. And that was just their flesh. Their spirit, their heart, always in the right place. Your parents, well, we can say our parents were never out to harm us in any way, shape, or form, but rather teach us so we could be amazing, functional citizens rather in society that thrived. Not just living, but thriving. So when they see us happy, their heart gets full.
Yes, absolutely. And that is so it's important.
Yeah.
I do have a question, but and it's tied to what you just said. But real quick, I'm just closing out the dad thing. My father, he has shown me, you know, a progression. and it showed me how I can be for my future children. Although I'm not gonna do everything he did exactly the same way or not, but
Well, you shouldn't. I mean, come on now. You got to correct the errors.
it's
That's the beauty of being the next generation.
exactly. But he laid out a blueprint for me. And
Foundation was laid. Not a lot of people have that.
exactly. So I know how to be a good father now, and I'm looking forward to that day because I know it's gonna be.
Oh, friend, I can't wait. I'm going to be more hyped than you.
Hey, listen, cancer dads are the best dads. I ain't trying to say nothing,
Hey, my
but
pastor is a cancer father. I know my little brother, born July 15th. My cousin, he was born on his birthday. These is gonna be some,
ain't
look. These some fathers of the millennia. Do you hear me?
that part. That part. So with that being said, yeah, I feel like my father laid down a blueprint, and I'm excited for that next step because that is, that branch that I will be creating,
Right.
by God's divine grace and mercy, if He sees fit. And I'm excited for that journey because I know there's so much to learn in that, and I don't know nothing. I find that out every day. I wake up and I'll be
I don't know
way,
nothing.
and it be
You know what I told people? I know every language. What I can speak every language, and like, no, you can't. What are you talking about? I could type it into my iPhone and hit translate and switch the language.
boom. I
Therefore, I mean, you guys didn't know that? What? I'm like, you can speak it, you can make it transcribe it into that just by hitting a button.
big facts don't over.
Just that simple.
That's simple, exactly.
At 8 years old when I found out.
And that's the cool thing. We are in a age of information. So
The
shoot,
way digital media moves, come on, guys. Whew, it's easy.
you can learn.
As my Spanish teacher would say, muy fácil.
Only that's language one. How many?
Yeah, all of them.
That part, that part. So, when it comes to your family, what are some important life lessons that you've learned or that they taught you?
My father taught me that you deserve what you tolerate. And
Mm-hmm.
my mother taught me you will fall if you don't stand for something. So, with that being said, the way that I govern myself in life is that if you want to tolerate it, then that's your choice. If you don't, you better stand hard on it because if you don't stand up, you will fall.
I like that. I like that.
And them teaching me that and being individuals, not being, codependent on one another, they taught me independence.
Mm, I like that. My parents are very much unified and individuals at the same.
Oh man, covered by the blood of the covenant.
Yeah, and
That bond, that marriage, that was supposed to be.
amen. I like how the Most High put some kingdom marriages together. I do.
Look, because it is nice to be an heir to the throne. Come on, somebody.
Yes, yes, God. Listen, if you're somebody out there that is seeking a relationship or love, trust that the Most High got somebody for you. The perfect match that is going to be the light to your candle or the calming to your heart. But God got it.
Because I married an Aquarius and he is a breath of fresh air.
Ooh, okay, for that Pisces energy.
Look, honey, because first of all, I will swim all over the place. He don't say go this way. I'll be like, oh, my bad, my bad.
Oh man, I feel it. For me, the important life lesson that my parents taught me, um, honestly, in the facts of individuality for them, they both very, very much put on to me to have my own relationship with the Lord. And
Oh, definitely, definitely was serious about having your own relationship and that don't look a certain way.
oh yes, and I'm so glad they pushed me to develop that relationship with the Lord. There was times I didn't want to cultivate or nourish that relationship, but
Right, because the beginning of the year, why did we pick the prayer hour of 5 o'clock? I'm still trying to run around. Like it's 5 p.m. I would like to play. Go in the room and get on your knees and pray. What am I supposed to pray for an hour, Ma? She's like, you could talk for an hour, right? Oh man, growing up as a church kid is just interesting.
it is, it is.
I'm on a David's fast. People are like, what is that?
No, woo. But that's the good thing about it too, because shoot, if I didn't have a family to push me to fast back then, I sure wouldn't have been
I
fast.
would never fast. Do you hear me? I'd be like, is it intermittent?
Exactly. And it's just how God designs his plan. He places those people in our lives that are gonna push us to be our best selves. And
that's why he chose specifically for you to be a part of that family. It was by no accident. It was nothing but an act of God.
of course, absolutely. I believe that. I believe that in my heart. Um, so before we move on, or I guess close this thing out, let's talk about some loving moments with the family. I'm all about love, so we got to.
Oh, this is an easy one for me. Oh,
Yeah.
so easy. Yup.
All right, throw some moments out there. Sometimes.
All right, we had a tumultuous day as a family. I was graduating high school. My sister's graduating to get her associates. Same day. So what that means is we got to be at two places at once.
Oh,
So I get to my graduation and my family. I'm not even sure how I got there. I think my friend came and picked me up. My mom is late and she tells me to go on stage again and make them say my name again. She's hilarious. Then when I get out, and it's like all over, she's all hurt and upset. It's like, it's funny, I cared nothing about my graduation. I'm ready to go to Mo's graduation because mine didn't really mean anything to me. But what was beautiful, my extended family, I'm aga affiliated with that. With that being said, I'm well connected with the Samoans, and my Samoan cousin came and gave me like 20 lays and showed up to my graduation. Vakio Manu, Etta, if you're listening to this, girl, you came in clutch. Her and her mom came. We took some pictures and then we had to rush to my sister. So I love this too. Listen, I am a very chaotic but orchestrated person. So I love orchestrated chaos.
oh Lord.
So then from there, we rushed into my sister, and my feet are killing me because I decided I was going to wear heels so I wasn't the shortest thing out there, right?
Mm.
And my dad has to carry me up the hill to the Tacoma Dome because my feet are on fire.
Mm.
I am in my robe and my lace. Then we can't see Mo. We're like, where are you? Where are you? She wore highlighter orange shoes and it stuck out her leg. It was like, you see my foot? And when they called her name, I screamed from a healthy place, from
Yeah.
the soles of my feet,
Yes.
That was so much fun. The only day that's even remotely close is me graduating from boot camp.
Mm.
My first time away from the family. I graduated in I believe the top 15%. I can't remember. It didn't matter once I wasn't the top 5 anymore. I didn't even care. Or the top 10. That's where I was. Yeah, top 10%, but I should have been the top 5. But I start slacking off as I usually do once things are not that challenging anymore. And I never broke military bearing, but I saw my peoples in the crowd and they waved at me, smiling from ear to ear. My cheesy, goofy smile. I was like, oh, they're here.
I love that.
And then when so you have a whole ceremony, and then after the ceremony, you get to be with your family. And I was in a performance division, which means we used to play at people's graduation and have to march back to our ship and just watch people go home and have freedom. Man, it was tough to say the least. But finally, that time came when it was our time, and
Mm.
it was just so great to be with my family and fellowshipping. It was the day before um Thanksgiving. The next day was Thanksgiving. We got Liberty for that.
Mm-hmm.
We were over at my dad's friend's house from when he was a sailor, and we were with his family. They cooked a whole Thanksgiving meal. We had, man, it was just so beautiful. Somebody there had the most beautiful chocolate sun. I held that baby for so long. I was like, and then that guy, funny enough, his birthday is March 6th. Them Pisces fathers show up, okay? He had his son for the holidays,
That's what's.
even though him and his girl was not together, and he was on a cane at the time because he had got jumped.
Oh, oh,
He still showed up. Look, Chirac, no joke. He still showed up though.
that's.
And all my friends, we all graduating, going places. We came back to talk to each other because we got to fly out the next day. Man, we had our phones on us. It was a beautiful thing.
I love that. That's cool.
So obviously those are some of my favorite family moments, and just being in the labor and delivery room, and then later being in the postpartum ward and having my guys in there.
Oh,
Yeah, top 3, not number 3 nor 2. I'm sitting in there like, this is my family. Oh, I'm in shambles. How
Oh,
about you though? What's a top three for you?
top three for sure. Back in 2020, my grandfather passed away, August 31st, and
My deepest condolences.
thank you, appreciate it. He's in a better place, 100%.
Yes, sir.
Yes. That day, my entire family, we got the call before he was passing away, and they told
Hmm.
me to go, and all of us, every last one of my family members, we jumped in the car and we drove from Washington all the way to Florida. And I mean, less than 2 days, we was booking it. We were crying, we were hurt, but we were there for each other. And I just,
That's beautiful.
yeah, yeah, it was a lot. It was me, my mother, my father, my uncle, my aunt, my cousins, which are basically my little sisters. Shout out to Mary Kate, Mary Jeanette, Mary Ann. Then my brother came with his family. My other brother was already in Florida, and we all just we went there to
You
support.
showed up for one another for that hard time and to support him in his transition.
We
That's
did.
beautiful.
We honest. We didn't make it. He passed before we could get there, and we found out on the drive there, and we stopped.
There's no way he didn't feel you all coming. He already knew it was well.
Oh yeah, yeah. I believe my brother, he made it there before we did. He was able to see him before he passed. But when we found out, we all pulled over and we stopped and we just loved on each other, and that was a big moment for me because I realized in that moment that one, life is short, and the people that you love and hold very close to you can go at any moment. And
Right.
you are with them, you got to appreciate them and love them even when you're not. And that serves as a moment of unconditional love because it didn't matter what state we were in, literally, physically, but mentally,
I know.
we were there for each other to pull each other up and
And that's what family does. They show up.
they show up. That's definitely one of my top moments, for sure. And
I
even,
think that is a great ending point. I don't have anything to say that would even compare, bro.
hey, there's no comparisons. Love is love, and at the end of the day,
True.
definitely a moment of love for me because it strange enough brought my family closer together, and we've been as close since then. Um, we were all a little in our own little worlds before that moment, and
But them worlds collided and came together, and it had to collide for you to really see the magnitude.
yes, yes, and my grandfather's awesome. He was almost a mayor of the town that I come from, back in Florida. So he had a big impact on a lot of people, and seeing the people show up at his funeral, the love that he received, it was just like, wow, God, you're incredible. So that's definitely my top moment. After that, some simple moments. I remember a time of like deep depression, just dealing with some traumas and things in my life, and just coming out of a really dark space. And I was feeling no love. Like at that point, I was completely flipped over and like what I like to call my dark avatar. I was no longer a light beam. I was just in darkness, and I was walking that just death. I was walking a very dead space, and God orchestrated everything. It's funny how my roots are in Florida, so He always bring me back to Florida. So I ended up in Florida. Didn't want to be.
Yeah, for me, it's Brooklyn. That when I go back, it is. Sometimes it's too real, if you know what I mean.
Yes, and that realness is necessary because it pulls you out of those fantasies, those dream worlds.
It very much so does.
Mm.
It grounds you.
That part, and that grounding is important. I was pulled into that space with a whole bunch of people that were just of love, and I was like the only one at that time that wasn't. And he knew exactly what he was doing. He sent my nephew. My nephew, so he's not my youngest nephew, but he's my youngest nephew on my brother Xavier. His I sent him to Florida, and he just came, and he was just this ball of light. He was blissful. He was.
That will pull you up out of it. I have had the same experience with my brother, my baby brother, because I just started crying on FaceTime, man. And I was like, because if don't nobody else love me or think I do anything right, that little boy cares for me.
Yes, that's literally how I felt. Shout out to Prince, man. People think I'm crazy, but in that instance, that kid saved me. He was Christ.
My brother has saved my life more than once, and they just speak to you so candidly.
Yes, yes, he was what I needed in that time, and we established a very good connection from that point on, and he's always going to have a special place in
Who
my.
you telling? My brother done bought me out of it, and then one day, this we gonna leave it with this funny anecdote. My little sister goes, we on family FaceTime, and she was like, "So who's the funniest sibling?" It's just me, her, and my two little brothers,
Mm-hmm.
right? And my baby brother goes, I think Monet is. I was like, I am the funniest person alive. You heard him.
That part.
And she was like asking my brother Junior to say her. Junior, it was, look, he a Capricorn. They're a little combative, you know.
Ooh, I love the cat though.
I love them though because they stand their ground. He refused to pick. Sadiq did not care. I think it's Monet. Thanks.
Yeah, the kids and the family, they're important because they're just light, they are truly
Yes.
light, and they're necessary, God's gift to this earth. And that was definitely my second moment. My third moment is, I'm in between two moments, but for sure, hands down, the embrace of nature. And I know this is not really one of beings, but there
Yeah.
was day, I just went outside and I was meditating. I was sitting on this walk right in front of this body of water. The sunset was perfect, and there was butterflies and dragonflies flying all around me. And I felt the wind. And in that moment, I knew the wind
Wow.
was talking to me, and the sun was beaming on me, and I felt like embraced. I am felt
By nature. Wow.
literally, and I felt so much love in that moment. And I was like, wow, God, you're everything, because there's no way you're not this bee by me, you're not this dragonfly. Like, how everything was so in sync. It was just this beautiful moment. I'm never gonna forget that. That serves as a moment of true bliss and peace for me. I had no care at that moment. Shoot, I thought I was about to get raptured out of here. Like,
And he said, and that's okay.
I was at a true moment of just peace, and I loved it, and I love it still, because I think, sometimes I'll be trying to recreate that moment, and I'm like, dang, I guess it's gone, but it was just a really moment of love, and I've never felt so connected to nature like that in that instance. Just everything, how it transpired, especially the birds in the background. It was just, for me, it was a very magical moment, and that's definitely, if not my third one, then it's I had did a Royal Regiment teaching thing with my church, with the kids in my church, and it was my first time like doing arts and crafts with them. I'm a very creative person. I love drawing, love painting, love building. My career was architecture, so building is very close to my heart. But I wanted to do something to kind of give back, and I didn't think the, I guess, impact on those kids was going to be what it was. And I just went there. They did the lesson and whatnot. Then they came to me for the arts and craft, and I set up this painting thing, and they were supposed to paint pictures of a garden, and inside of the garden they were supposed to plant everything that they loved. So if they love books, paint a book inside your garden. If you love your mama, paint your mama in your garden. If you love whatever you love, put it in the garden, whether it's butterflies, the sun. And they created these beautiful works of art, and I was just like,
Wow.
this is so dope. And it was the response after. They were like, oh, this was so fun, this and that. And then, they went home and whatnot. And it was that Sunday, following Sunday, one of the kids ran up to me and he was like, that was the coolest thing I've ever done. And he looked at me with these big
Oh,
eyes.
wow.
He looked at me with the big old eyes, and he was like, you're my best friend. And I was like, oh, shoot. Oh, the kids
You
love
were a
that.
wreck, huh?
Yo, I felt the embrace. I was just like, wow, that's so awesome. I'm like, to God be all the glory, because sometimes I'd be in my head and I'm like, dang, I can't do nothing right. And then
Right. And then something like that happens.
yeah, it was a really cool moment, and I appreciate that, because that serves as a love coming not necessarily on the inside but from the outside, and it was just really dope. So I really did appreciate that moment, and shout out to those kids. You know, I'm a Royal Regiment's teacher, so soon. I'm excited for that. But yeah, those are definitely some moments where I felt just love, the embodiment of love, however it manifests, and the love of the Lord. And it's necessary, especially in this time, in this world, because like you said, there's challenges in every place you get to. If you're above water, if you're above the grave, there's always going to be a challenge or something that emerges or comes up, and love
Right.
serves as an anchor for us, an anchor to God and an anchor to our family, to get us through those tough times, those ups and downs, the challenges, circumstances, whatever it is. Love is our anchor, and it's one of the most important things we can connect with and to on this journey in life.
100%. Could not agree more.
Yes. Um, well, if you have anything else to say before we close this out, feel free to say it.
I'm just really just honored to be here. Any listenership is good listenership. If you ask me, I love podcasting as expressive therapy.
Yes.
So you can find me, LiquidMetal, Insatiable Mind, I'm podcast, where we talk all things finances, relationships, and even just a little bit about me. My newest episode is called Good Kid, Great Credit.
Ooh,
Just a little insight on how you can manage that credit report a little bit more, your report card. That's all I got.
thank you guys. Please, I hope you guys listen to our podcast. It's awesome. You know, she's a very expressive person with a very unique perspective, and she needs to be heard. So please support her podcast. And
Oh, thank you, friend.
yes, of course, of course. Thank you guys so much for listening. God bless you. I love you, and I hope you have a beautiful and blessed day.